This part of your story was the genesis. One, being a grown-ass woman.
Hey, okay.
My very good friend, CeCe Boozer, amazing mom, warrior mom, entrepreneur, and a heart for service.
The twins know that they were brought here to save their brother. They know that he's alive and healthy because of them.
They have a sense of pride and also like purpose.
When you're in the moment of making the sacrifice, you don't think it's a sacrifice. You just go where your heart is. I tell people that all the time when they ask, how do you do this or how do you do that? And I said, because it's the only thing I know. My mom is getting older.
Scary.
We're in this transition where our kids are leaving, but now our parents need us so much. What am I gonna do?
You took your pain, not only did you turn it into purpose, but you actually became an expert.
I think we both had that shared feeling of doers. We just have to accept this circumstance. I'll put on my cape and go out there and save myself if I have to.
What does it mean to you to be a grown woman?
Oof.
What do I love about a grown-ass woman? There's so much to love.
Now give it to me.
She's unapologetic. She shows up in every space exactly who she is. She wedges the door open for other women to follow. I'm Shannon Allen, and you're listening to Grown Woman. I'm Shannon Allen, and I'm so excited to be here in my happy place at Grown today, joined by my very good friend, CeCe Boozer, amazing mom, warrior mom, badass, entrepreneur, all-around incredible spirit, mother, daughter, child of God, with a heart of gold and a heart for service. CeCe, I'm so happy that you could be here today.
No, thank you. I'm so excited to be here.
Thank you. One of my favorite grown women. You
Oh.
guys are in for a treat. So excited.
Oh, good to see you. I miss you.
I know, I miss you too. And it's been like a long time coming,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, kids get in the way of everything.
In a good way.
Yes, in a good way.
Right? Like I had to stop saying to myself, like, I have to do it. And I started saying, I get to do it.
Oh, yes.
Right?
Yes.
So like
yes.
even sometimes like if I'm in the house and I'm like, oh, I've got to go get Walker or whatever. And Ray's like, no. You get to go get Walker. And he's like, that's your line, right? And I'm like, yes. That's
well, let
my
me
line.
tell
That's
you,
my line.
that becomes very important now that they're all leaving, because I am happy that I get to do everything right now,
Yes.
because next year I won't get to do any of it.
And
So,
how are you feeling about that? Because this is a new transition, right? Like our kids are basically the same age.
Yes.
For anybody that doesn't know, CeCe has 3 boys.
yeah.
And now one of your twin's best friend, or one of your best friends is living in the house with you guys.
Yes.
So like I have the Allen frat house, you have the Boozer frat house.
Yes.
And like
I love my frat house.
You love your frat
I
house.
love my
Your
frat
grocery bill's crazy.
house. Yeah, but it's worth it. It's
Yeah,
worth it.
It is.
Those meat and potato boys got to eat.
They
So,
do. Oh
yeah.
my God. And it's like sometimes on a Sunday they're like, Mom, is it okay if I bring my entire team over
Oh,
for
yeah.
dinner? And I'm like, yeah.
Oh, yeah. The more the merrier. I'd rather them be at home.
My grandma used to always say, just add more soup, like add more water to the soup.
Oh, absolutely.
Right? Because
Yeah.
like you said, like what's one more teenage boy?
Oh, yeah. When you got 3 boys, what's one more?
Right.
You know, you just add them in. But I'm not ready for the transition. I thought I was going to be. I kept saying, oh, yeah, I'm going to be great. Like, I'm so proud of them. I'm happy for them to leave.
Right.
And now that all these moments of the senior year are happening, I am not
You're
doing
okay.
good, having little cries in the closet.
Oh my God.
It's okay.
How did this happen so fast?
I don't know. And having it happen back-to-back years is hard.
So where's Carmani now?
Carmani's at University of Fort Lauderdale. He's playing baseball there.
And that was always his sport.
Yeah.
And how does he love it?
He's so happy.
Yeah.
He's happy. And it's nice for me because I get to go and see him play, and I go up to see him once a week, and we grocery shop and we meal prep for the week so that he can cook for himself. 'cause he's
What?
such a grown man now.
Let me find out you're over here meal prepping on the side. That's
well,
amazing.
I have to because he wants to cook. You know how it is when you first move into your first apartment
Yeah.
and you're eating out and you're living the life, and
Yeah.
eventually you're burnt out with that.
Right.
You're like, I just want a home cooked meal. He's used to having a home cooked meal at home.
And he's an athlete. He's used to your
And he
pregame
got
meals.
tired of it. And he's like,
Yeah.
I want to eat. And so we started grocery shopping together and meal prepping. And now he's cooking up a storm.
What?
He sent me a picture the other day. He made steak fried rice. I was like, look at you.
Yes.
Okay.
Does he FaceTime you sometimes?
Yes,
like, Mom,
he
show me
does.
how to do this. My
Yes,
boys do
he
that
does.
too.
He FaceTimes me. We walk through it while he's cooking. And I'm super proud of him. I love it.
Yeah, no, and you should be because he's amazing.
Yeah.
So you guys just recently, like background, obviously, you're from North Carolina.
Yes.
You're from Durham.
Yeah. Well, outside of Durham,
Outside
a
of
little
Durham.
town called Bahama outside of Durham. I grew up on a farm.
Okay,
So
amazing.
it's spelled like Bahamas, but there's no palm trees.
Okay. But there's cows or something.
There's cows and tobacco. We got that.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay. And so did you go to Duke?
I did for grad school.
And is that where you and Carlos met each
Yes.
other? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. And so just recently, you guys as a family had this documentary on ESPN called Blood Brothers.
Yeah.
And congratulations on that.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate that.
Yeah, of course. And what I took away from this moment was that it was an opportunity for you guys as a family to tell a part of your story that I knew, you know, as a friend, as someone whose kids, you know, grew up playing ball together at, you know, the Boys and Girls Club in South Miami all the way until now. Your twins are currently maybe the most highly recruited high school basketball players in the nation, right? But this part of your story was the genesis,
Yes.
I think, of you, one, being a grown-ass woman.
Thank you. Hey. Okay.
Yes, that part.
Yes, that
and
part.
being a warrior mom, which I also, you know, that is absolutely
We're
part
kindred
of,
spirits in that.
Yes. And when tragedy or potential tragedy or hardship or pain hits your children, it affects you differently than any other pain, I think.
No, for sure.
But you took your pain from this moment with Carmani, and not only did you turn it into purpose, but you actually became an expert at providing him with essentially a cure.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the beginning of your family.
Yes.
Tell us about that for people that don't know this story.
Yeah. Well, when I got pregnant with Carmani, we had him tested in utero because we both were carriers for sickle cell. And unfortunately, he did have the disease. And so from that moment on, we were just trying to figure out like what we were going to do, how we were going to help him. We were living in Utah at the time, and the altitude is really bad for anyone who has sickle cell anemia. So we came to Miami. He was born here because we had a summer place here down in Brickell. Soon after he was born, he started to display signs that he was going to be on the very severe spectrum for sickle cell.
And what would those symptoms look like?
He had dysplasia of his hands and feet at a very young age, at 3 months. And at that point, he wasn't even supposed to be showing any symptoms. You're supposed to still be carrying a lot of hemoglobin from your mother at that point in time. So that let us know that
his hands and feet would be very cold.
Swollen.
Swollen.
Yes.
Okay.
So that kind of let us know that he had symptoms that showed he was going to be on the severe end. So from that point, I went to like a clinic that specialized in sickle cell, and I'm all excited. I'm going into this clinic thinking they're going to like give me all this possibility. And they had nothing.
The clinic for sickle cell anemia had
nothing. They had some medications. Oh, there's some experimental studies that maybe, possibly, you know, and it was like, oh, you can take this medicine and basically hope for the best. And for me, that wasn't a viable answer. So I was like, I can't just sit back and watch my son suffer.
And you didn't have a medical background. What was your master's degree in
No,
Yeah.
accounting. And business
You're a
administration.
CPA,
Yes,
exactly.
The most boring thing
What?
imaginable. Yeah.
Oh my God. So this numbers cruncher said, no, but you recognize a real problem.
Yeah. So I just started to research. And I found a hospital in Atlanta at Emory.
Okay.
And there was a doctor there who was really cutting edge, and he had a sickle cell clinic, and he had done all of the first bone marrow transplants, and he had success, and people were cured and living amazing lives. And I was like, I love you.
Right.
Can I hug you?
Yes.
And I was like, I want to do that. And, you know, from there, you just find out the best way to get a match is through a sibling.
You didn't have a sibling at that time.
I didn't have a sibling at that time. So we went through in vitro to get a match because we wanted to test the embryos to make sure that it was going to be an HLA match for his transplant as well as being healthy embryo.
So let me stop you right there. At that time, when you and the boy's dad sat down and said, you know, this is a viable option for us that could not just potentially save Carmani's life, it can give him a quality of life that he deserves.
Right.
But the only way we're going to get this, based on what this doctor was saying at Emory, is if we give him siblings that aren't an HLA match and they become the donor.
A sibling.
A sibling.
A sibling was the goal.
God. Okay, sibling.
We were hoping for one.
Yeah.
Okay.
And he was on board with that. What did everybody in your life say? Because sometimes when you say, I'm going to go left, everybody in your life is like,
oh, everyone thought I was cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. They
Right.
were like, well, I think that Carlos at the time, he was very amicable. He just wanted me to be happy. He wanted Carmani to be okay. And even if he didn't understand all the things that I was coming home with this grandiose idea about what I was chasing, he was like, okay, if you want to do it, I support you. And
Praise
I think he
God.
just let me drag him along.
Yeah. Okay.
You know, because he was also working and he was playing at the time
And traveling.
and traveling. And so, you know, I think he was just, I give you my full support. If this is what you want to do, you do it. And he went along with the process. And we did in vitro. I had 2 embryos that were a perfect match
Was that a shock?
for the
Twins?
transplant. Yes, because the doctor was like, let me implant 2 because just in case one doesn't take. And I'm like, sure. And
Right.
then 8 weeks later, you go back and they're like, you're having twins. It's like, hey, buddy, I signed up for 1.
Right. Just the one was fine. Can't give them back now.
No, you can't give them back now. So it was a blessing. And I think it kind of gives a beauty to our family that can't really be described because the twins know that they were brought here to save their brother. They know that he's alive and healthy because of them.
And they have a
Yeah.
sense of like pride
Absolutely.
and also like purpose.
Yes. Well, and you also have that interconnection because without Carmani and everything that he was going through, we may have never gone through that process. So like they're literally here because of him and he's here because of them. And it gives you that closeness that I think as a mother, we all want. Like you want your kids to rely on each other, to love each other, to have that special bond because eventually it's just going to be them. We won't be here.
Right.
So I appreciate that and that connection for them.
I'm so blown away by you, CeCe. Like
Oh.
I actually, all these years that I've known you and we've been basketball moms together across the court from each other, in gyms, in your backyard with trainers, doing events together, you know, grown providing food for stuff for you for the Super Bowl and all the things that you've ever worked on. I don't think that I really knew that you were the brains behind Carmani Secure. And I just, with my own child that I'm desperate for a cure for, I am just like getting emotional thinking about it. How truly incredible it is what you did for him and for your own family. And you're a fucking rock star.
No, thank you. But you know what? But that's why we're kindred spirits because I watched you in the process with Walker.
Yeah.
And you never settled. You were like, I'm going to find a way.
Yeah.
And I'm going to make sure that my baby is healthy and he's
he
strong.
is.
And I give him every opportunity to have a normal life. And I think we both had that shared like feeling of doers. We're doers.
Yeah.
You know, we are the worker bees of the world. And no one's going to tell us
No
that
one's
we just
coming
have
to
to
save us.
accept this circumstance. Right. I will save myself. I'll put on my cape and go out there and save myself if I have to. And
period.
You know, I love that about you. And I think that that's what draws us close to each other.
Thank you so much for saying that. Of course, you know, that touches me in like a visceral place, you know, in my gut, my core, because Walker really is my why. And for people that are watching us, that are sitting here at the table with us, but aren't physically here, our son Walker, my middle child, was diagnosed with type 1 diabetes in 2008. And we almost lost him, as you know, and our whole life changed. You know, I became a different mom, a different wife, a different mother, a different person in the community. And it was like, I need to get him a cure and I need to raise enough awareness and resources, not just for him, but for the millions of people like him who suffer with a life-threatening medical condition. And through that process, my why and wanting to make a life better for him and to have the things that I wish existed, that's why I actually created Grown. You know, that's why I decided I was going to reinvent the fast food experience, because with all of the issues that Walker has had and that people living with diabetes have, and look, before COVID, pandemic of our time, right? This diabetes literally is the pandemic of our time. But food is such an issue for people. And people will say like, oh, well, type 1 is different than type 2. Yes, of course. Type 1 is different. You're insulin dependent. Type 2 is typically a disease that is largely surrounds food and exercise and diet over time. But the food is still a very important part of it. And caring for a baby that was insulin dependent and being on the road constantly and taking them from thing to thing to thing in sports and being an NBA dependent, as we both were finding food that was convenience without compromise was impossible. It just didn't exist. And so thank you for acknowledging that and for being here with me and for being a friend, a real friend of mine. And, you know, sometimes I'll just reach out to you and be like, CeCe, you're a fucking warrior.
I love it.
You know, because it's the truth.
Yes.
And, you know, iron sharpens iron. And also I think I've always been inspired by your story. And when I think about your boys and you, I always think of like the Three Musketeers, you know, because they're just like a pack. And the love and respect that they have for one another and how they move through the world. I was even watching the other day on senior night, the letter that the boys wrote to you.
Oh.
the audio of that. And I'm sitting there like crying.
Oh no, me too, girl. A
Did
year
you
of tears.
sob?
I was like, why?
What? Why did you do that to me? But it was so beautiful.
Yeah.
I mean, here they are, again, most highly recruited basketball players in the nation. You're getting ready to go to Duke. They just committed to Duke, which is unreal. And here they are at senior night. And the thing that they wanted the world to know was, Mom, we love you. Thank you for all the sacrifices you made for us. And so as a parent who has wanted to do whatever it took to make sure that all three of her children could live their dreams, from Carmani to Cameron and Caden, what did it feel like in that moment to hear their words?
I think it feels a little bit surreal
Yeah.
because when you're in the moment of making the sacrifice, you don't think it's a sacrifice. You just go where your heart is.
Yeah.
And I tell people that all the time when they ask, like, how do you do this or how do you do that? And I said, because it's the only thing I know. Like, I put my head down and I do the work and I see the goal and I meet the goal. And once I meet the goal, I make another goal.
Right,
and I
right, because
continue.
tomorrow never comes.
Right, yeah.
We have this moment right now.
Yes.
We need to get things accomplished right now.
And so for me, it's nice to see them at this moment, seeing the culmination of like everything that's happened, and to be able to look back and say, I'm thankful and I'm grateful for you kind of putting your head down and making the way. So I think that, you know, as a parent, that's all we can ask for. That's
Yeah.
it.
And to put them in a place where they get to live their dreams unapologetically. And I think a lot of times parents will say things like, oh, does it really matter if my kids play sports? Or does it really matter if my kids go to the school that they want to? Or, you know, maybe I'm spending too much money on this trainer, or, you know, maybe they don't really need to do this, whatever it is, take this foreign language or whatever. And it's like, but our job as parents, you know, once the basics are taken care of, the love, the care, a roof over your head, the meals, is about, for me, it's about nurturing
Yes.
and providing wings, like that wind, so that they can soar. Because it's not my life. I already have my life.
Yes.
But for you to be able to do what you love, it's my responsibility to help you get there. Because you didn't ask to be here.
But I think it's also about us laying a foundation
Yeah.
of who they're going to be in the future, because at the end of the day, this next generation is going to be our leaders.
Yes.
Right. And so if they see me with a servant spirit, that I am a person who gives, who pours into others, who builds, you know, who can take something, I can see something in you and I see something powerful and amazing, and I can help you build that so that you can be your best self. And I hope that that transfers over into them, so that as they walk out and they become men and they're entering this world and doing everything they want to be, they are the next people who are carrying that servant spirit and building not only in themselves and others. And so for me, that'll be my greatest testament if I can see that come to fruition, to see them to kind of carry that on and be able to give that.
I think they do that.
I
mean,
hope so.
anytime you hear them speak, anywhere, even when I just bump into them at the movie theater, what have you, you know, the boys are always so kind. I didn't want to say boys, they're like young men, obviously, but the kindness is there, the grace is there, because look, they're stepping into a world now.
Yeah.
It's changed with everything. You know, there's a lot of eyes.
Yes.
And then you know that world because you came from the NBA world. And I know that world because our family came from the NBA world. And there's a lot of expectation, right?
Yes.
They wear the name Boozer on their jersey.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, there'll always be that element of people, the haters in the world, that are saying like, oh, you guys are amazing, but, you know, you're not
Right.
your daddy,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Right.
And so there's all these different elements that are at play with NIL and competition and schools jockeying for position and when's the right time to say you're going to go into the league and all of that. But like you're saying, you've given them a foundation.
Yes.
And what is a big factor for you for your foundation? Is it your spirituality? Is it your faith? Is it family? Because I know you have a very close family.
Yes.
Tell me about some of that, like how you established a foundation for your boys, and what
Yeah.
you tap into.
I think our foundation is solely based on faith. You know, I know that everybody has their own set of beliefs, but we are a Christ-focused house.
Yes.
So when you walk into my house, you see the Bible scriptures above every door. And
Amen.
the first one that says, as for me and my house, we serve the Lord. And so
Praise God.
every day when we get up, we know that our life is not truly our own,
Right.
that we're here to serve a greater purpose. And I think that when you lead your life in that capacity, you are more humble and you are less inward thinking and more outward thinking. And I think that that is the biggest foundation. And that my kids are very fortunate to be surrounded by family and friends. Like my kids even have a great community of just men here in Miami who have, yes, who have mentored them and pour into their lives, you know, great coaches, great men that are just mentors. And I think that all of those things are so important when it comes to helping you to be your best self.
And just also, I think, walking in obedience.
Yes.
Like I always say for myself, I don't want what I want. I want what God wants for me.
Yes.
Because whatever God wants for me is infinitely better than anything I ever could have dreamed of in life. Because I didn't even know that any of this could exist.
Yeah.
And so I'm just so grateful that God has a plan for me. And so every day I say, God, use me as a vessel.
Yeah, but you exude that.
Good.
So you know that even without you ever saying it, you exude it.
Yeah, that's my goal, right? That is absolutely my goal. And so for your journey, a lot of people don't know, you know, in addition to being an amazing mom and a warrior mom and a CPA, you're also an entrepreneur. And we've worked together over the years for entrepreneurial things. I mean, my God, I'm sitting here thinking about that Super Bowl. When we had Super Bowl in Miami and we had like...
Girl, when you showed up and I was mopping the floor because I was down a man and you were like, what are you doing? I'm like, girl, we got to get it clean. Okay.
I mean,
get in where you fit in.
Events after events. I remember unloading that mansion on the water after Super Bowl at 4 a.m. I was out there taking shit out. But you know what? It all worked out and it was amazing. And so how much of you being an entrepreneur do you think has established an additional foundation for your voice, because they're already a brand?
Yes.
So seeing you as a mom, but a worker, as an entrepreneur, as someone who truly has crafted her own lane, whether it's the businesses that you own, because I know you own businesses, and in addition to that, all the work that you've done in events and production and all that stuff, how much of that do you think they pick up on? Like, my mom's the hardest worker in the room. I need to make sure that I'm always early, on time, dedicated, gritty. Like, what are those things for you?
Well, I think it's important just as far as teaching your kids the reality of the world. So, you know, a lot of times we live in this easy, instant gratitude world. You know, you look on social media, you see exactly what you want to see. You know, everything seems to be so easy on a surface, but in reality, that's not what life is. Life is hard. Life is work. Life is grit. And I think watching me build multiple businesses from the ground up and what that takes, that means sometimes I'm working 70, 80 hours a week. And yet still every morning when you wake up, I'm up before you, your breakfast is on the table, your bags are packed and prepared, and I have a smile. Because I am joyful in the opportunity to be your mom. I'm joyful in the opportunity to go to work and to be able to have this job, have this business, or to provide employment for all the people who work for me. I take that as a huge responsibility.
It is.
You know, that when I wake up, I have to work harder and I have to be better, because there's a lot of people who depend on me.
You.
Yes. So if there's 90 people who expect their paycheck this week, that is my job to make sure that happens. And I think it's important for them to see that process, because there's times when, you know, things may not be going well on the court or whatever. And I tell them all the time, there's no magic to success. There's no magic.
Period.
It's only the work. And so if you got a problem, the shot's not falling, it's not going great, you know what you need to do? 5 a.m. comes every day. You get up and you go and you do your work. And then when practice is over, you do your work and you keep working until it works out.
Ray says, work, don't worry.
Yeah.
So when, you know, look.
Yes,
know.
Absolutely.
So when these guys are like, oh, you know, this, that, whatever, court, school, life, anything. He's like, work, don't worry.
No.
Because that's what you can control.
But if we exemplify that in what we do as parents, then it's very easy to relay that message.
Right.
It's very easy to say to you, there's no secret. There's no secret sauce, baby.
Yeah.
The sauce is the work.
Right.
And when you do the work, everything else falls into place.
Pride in the work.
Yes.
I think that's the part sometimes that people want to skip. And like during COVID, we were always communicating with each other. How's your business? How's your business? Is it gonna be okay? Girl, I don't know. We gonna make it.
But we were crying together. I was like, man down.
It's just like, how are we gonna God, take the wheel, Jesus, take the wheel, because it was so stressful for the world, right? And so, and you know, I know people at home, everybody's level of stress, there's levels to this. But like you said, you had a responsibility to care for 90 people, which means 90 families. And at the time, I think we had maybe 56 team members. And so that's 56 families that I didn't want to have to go on unemployment if we closed. So I was in here at 1 o'clock in the morning every day, and I'm not complaining about it at all. It's just for a story. But you have to be in it. You've got to be in the weeds with this shit, because you have to know every part of your business. And I don't think that's any different than the game.
No.
It's like the great ones know everyone else's position. They know their own position, they know everyone else's position. They know all the plays. They know all the plays that the other players, you know, are running. One of the things that I remember when we first came to Miami from Boston, when Ray was playing for the Celtics and then started playing for the Heat, he was so blown away by LeBron James and how much of a student of the game he is. And he came home one day and he was like, Shan, I was having this conversation with LeBron in practice, and he was reminding me of this play that I made in this like obscure game from when I was on the Bucks in like, you know, 1999 or something. And he was like,
I forgot about that.
Period. He was like, this guy, I think, has seen every game I've ever played. But he was like, but it's not about me. He loves basketball.
Right.
And he devours basketball. And I think it's no matter what you're doing, whether it's sports, whether it's your career, whether it's at school, whether it's being a part of a community, to just be in it.
Yes.
To be of service, and also to be a student of it.
Yeah.
To always be ready to be learning.
But you have to enjoy the process.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Even the hard days, right?
Absolutely. Even the hard days when we were calling each other going, are we sinking? I don't know.
Boy, did it feel like it.
We
made it.
Throwing water out the boat.
Oh my God. It was like, oh Lord, I don't know. But you know what I kept saying to myself? And I know we talked about this too. I kept saying, God, if this is what you want for me,
yes,
I'll continue to show up. If this is what you want for me, I will continue to show up every day, even if it feels impossible. If this is not what you want for me, then I'll know when that moment comes. But just reveal that to me. And so I just kept working. I just put my head down and I kept working, just like you kept your head down and you kept working. And, you know, the world changes over time, but we have to just keep going. You know, we have to just keep swimming. That's the whole point of it all. So now, you're getting ready to step into this new journey. The boys are going to be at Duke.
Yes.
Carmani's in college in Florida.
Yes.
You're from North Carolina.
Yes.
What is this pull on you from your heart and from your family to relocate to Duke while the boys are in school? Because I know how you are.
I can't, though. I can't, because I still have Carmani here in Fort Lauderdale and
businesses.
Yeah.
All your businesses are here.
Well, no, I'm a little bit spread out now with the assisted care facilities. Okay. But still, I feel like I will go back and forth. I will go there. I'll be there for the games. I'll visit as
all
needed.
The games.
Yes, I'll be there for all the games. I'll be there to visit as they need me to, but I can't uproot just because I still have Carmani here. So I need to be able to divide my time a little bit. Yeah.
And they'll understand that, and they get it, and they know you're going to be there.
Well, they've always had to share. So, you know, it's just the same moving.
And it's a short flight.
Moving forward. It is. It's only an hour and a half. So I can be there, you know, at the drop of a dime. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not worried.
And how are you feeling about this idea of right now, like being an empty nester? How does that feel?
Oh, I am petrified. I
was going to ask you.
Yeah,
are you excited or scared or both? I mean, you can be two things can be true.
No, let me tell you, if you would have asked me last year, I was like, oh, no, I'm going to be great. I'm super proud of them. I'm excited for them, the whole thing. Now we're in the last moments and everything's happening and I'm petrified.
Right.
Because not only am I, you know, going to have an empty nest, I'm just going to be all alone. So I am not excited about that prospect at all.
Hard.
I keep saying, you know what? I'm going to cry on vacation. I will not cry at home alone.
Right.
So if you see me sending you a picture and be like, hi, Shannon, I'm in Egypt. With my little tears streaming.
I love that for you.
I'm alone, but on vacation. So that's the current plan.
Soft life.
Exactly.
Sad soft life, but it's a soft life. Oh my God, that's too much. This happens so fast. Yeah. Do you remember being in South Miami at the Boys and Girls Club? This is a memory that I have of you that I'll never be able to get out of my head. I may even have a photo of this. So we're all there, all the moms. I don't even know. It was like Yumi, maybe me, maybe Lynn, I think maybe even Savannah. And you were there in the corner with your tripod and your iPad videoing every single one of these games. And CeCe, they couldn't have been 4.
Girl, because I had them watching film. When they were
Yes! Guys, you're gonna look what y'all did on this play right here. You're the GOAT.
But that's you doing twirlies instead of running the play. Yeah, that's you. That's you.
But listen, when draft night comes, they're gonna have plenty of footage.
I'm gonna pull it out the archives.
Better.
Remember when you used to run by and high five the people in the stands instead of playing basketball?
Right, but you got it. Did you know back then?
No. At that point in
mom.
time, I just had 3 boys who were destroying my house with all that energy, and I wanted them to play anything and everything. So it was like, oh, you got soccer? We're signing up for soccer.
Yes.
You got hockey? We're going to hockey.
And baseball?
Baseball, whatever you got, I'm coming, because these are 3 little destroyers, and I need them to put their energy into something other than trying to kill each other.
I can't. Well, it all worked out.
It did.
And I'm so glad you have the footage to prove it.
I know.
But hey, even if the footage, God forbid, you lost,
right.
you have me. Because
Exactly.
I witnessed it firsthand.
Exactly.
Oh my goodness. So what's next for you?
What's next for me?
Tell me about the assisted living facilities.
Yeah, I started with one 30-bed facility.
Okay.
And it was kind of
Was it a pet project? Like, how did that happen?
It was a pet project. When I went to college my freshman year, my grandfather was on dialysis. And so I was thankful that my coach would allow me to go back and forth to take him to dialysis.
You were playing soccer at that time?
I was playing volleyball. Yeah.
Okay.
And so I was there with him until the end. And then my grandmother got sick, a few years back. And my mom was there taking care of her. And it was very, very hard on her. But she felt like she had to, because we couldn't find a place that seemed what we thought was quality to send her to. And now that my mom is getting older,
scary.
Yeah, I think we're in this transition where our kids are leaving, but now our parents need us so much. And now all of these things start to become a reality about, like, what am I going to do? How am I going to take care of her? What's going to happen? And if I ever did have to send her somewhere, like, where is she going to go? And so I think that there's a huge need for this right now as we see the boomer population, going into their elder years. And so it was kind of a pet project. I did it. And
did you start it at home so that your mom could kind of benefit from it with her?
Yes.
Okay.
And it has turned out to be an amazing experience, something completely different that I've never done before. And I like the learning process. Like, I had to go and work somewhere for like a month so I could learn how to bill Medicare and do all these things that I just had no knowledge of. Because like you said, if you're going to be a part of something, I need to know every single part. There shouldn't be anything that I can't do.
Right.
Right. I can handle purchasing. I can handle billing. I can handle placement, whatever the case may be. If there's a man down, I can slide into place and take the job. So for me, it was nice to do something that was so different because I love to learn, and it felt like that to me. And it's done well. And so now I'm started to open some smaller facilities, which really aren't for the elderly, but more for like special needs.
Wow.
And things like that, which is a completely different experience as well.
So needed.
Yes.
And especially now people are losing services.
Yes.
Which is very scary.
Yeah.
So you can maybe fill in the gaps.
I don't think that those services are going to be lost. Yeah. I haven't had any sort of inkling that those services are going to be lost, because they are very, very needed. And that's been an interesting experience. And I think because I have a heart for people who are trying to care for their children and trying to figure it out, because I've gone through the process, that it gives me such a different perspective when you're helping these families. So they're not really clients. You feel like this is becoming a part of your family as you integrate with all these people. So it's been an interesting experience.
Sounds to me like,
and I'm loving it. And I think, now in my empty nest, I will expand and pour more so I can keep myself busy.
Right.
Right.
It feels like, it sounds like kind of more like a calling.
Yeah.
Because you do have a heart for service.
Yeah,
right?
I do. And I feel like this is something that I feel proud of. And to me, that's important, to do work that I feel proud to put my name and have my name attached to it, and to say that, like, I did that, I'm a part of that. And again, you end up with more people who depend on you and makes you show up every day.
And maybe that also is like now that the boys are transitioning to being more independent,
Yes.
right? It's like, it'll never fill the void
No.
because you're always going to be their mom first. You know, I think about my boys also, like they'll never fill a void of what it feels like to walk into a house and it's complete chaos. And I've got, you know, my frat house, I've got a million people, mom this, mom that, mom, what's for dinner? Mom, can you take me here? You know, that gives me so much joy. But as they start to become more and more independent, it's like, how can I still be in service to the world? And
Right.
it sounds like that's a way for you to still be a caretaker,
Yes.
a nurturer, a caregiver.
Yeah.
And that's beautiful. So you're doing some expansion with that.
Yes.
Do you still have your stores?
No.
Sold those.
Yeah, sold those.
Okay.
Sold those. So
I love it. You've got this whole entrepreneurial journey.
I think I like to build. I think,
You're a builder.
I do. I think I like to build, and I like to okay, I did it, and now what can I do next? Or maybe I get bored. I don't know what it is, but I'll just take on another project.
Right.
So I'm always talking to people and listening and be like, oh, that sounds interesting.
Let me dip my toe in there.
Let me see.
And growing up on a farm, how did you get the entrepreneurial gene?
Well, I think you're born with that if you grow up on a farm, because farm, that's all
It's all
entrepreneurial.
work.
Yes.
Everything.
And it's work. It's work. People used to be like, oh, you have this tremendous farm. You have all these things. We are farm rich.
Right.
We have a lot of equipment.
Yes.
we have a lot of
fresh
supplies.
vegetables.
Yeah, we have all the things, and so everything pours back into the farm.
Yeah.
And
does your family still have it?
Well,
Got it.
Yeah. So
noted.
unfortunately, sometimes with family, things don't always go as they should.
Yeah.
And one family member took the farm from the rest of the family. So that is a point of contention.
But you have the memory of the farm.
I have the memories.
And that'll never ever go anywhere.
That will never go anywhere.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll have a do-over at some point. You want to get a farm?
I want a farm.
So you want a farm?
I want a farm.
Girl,
are we farmers?
We could be farmers.
Listen.
Okay. We could be fabulous farmers. We want a farm, girl.
Listen, there was a farm for sale down south in Homestead. So when I first opened up the restaurant, I was buying all of this stuff from Homestead because I wanted to work with as many local growers as possible.
Right.
I was buying stuff from Mr. Green Dean and Deb, and she would come here with her fresh stuff. And I mean, it was a whole bunch of different people that I was buying from. And this amazing woman, her name was Gabrielle Mariuski. She's still alive. She's not a was, she is. She had Paradise Farms Organic.
Mm.
And so Gabrielle was like the grande dame of organic farming. And I was learning how to do this, but I didn't know how to get organic certification. And that was really important to me because I wanted our customers to understand that we're not just reinventing the fast food experience.
Right.
We're providing you with single ingredient, nutrient dense, organic certified foods. Having our organic integrity was really important to me.
Right.
But the organic certification process was super vague. There were only 7 restaurants in the time in the US that had organic certification.
Wow.
It was crazy. So I met with Gabrielle many times, and I would actually go to the farm and she would sit with me with all my documentation and help me get ready.
I love that.
And she just works with me. And I kept saying to her, Gabrielle, do you want this farm?
Right. Do you want
this farm? Why are you actually helping me with this? Are you trying to get rid of this farm? She ended up moving to North Carolina. She sold the farm to somebody else who it's in excellent hands. And they did a way better job than I ever could have dreamed of doing because it requires so much time, right?
It's your baby.
A farm is a 24-hour-a-day thing. It's not like you can just pop in and pop out. You're not going to be crying in Egypt. When
No, you're definitely not. Okay. You crying in the field.
In the field. But yes, in the beginning, I kind of thought, oh, this is cool. I can really democratize organic fruits and veggies in Miami and try to make this, an even easier experience for me and all the other restaurants that buy like me. But I just really didn't have the energy that it was going to take to do that.
Yeah.
This was my baby, and I had to focus on it.
Baby. Wow.
Yeah, and I'm glad I did.
If you want to get a new baby.
Got me over here doing things I'm not supposed to do. I'm trying to be focused.
At least I'm talking about a farm baby and not a real baby.
I know, my God, girl, I'm a grandmother right now. Tierra and Travis have 3 babies.
I know, I'm not ready. Okay, I've asked for a 10-year break.
Have you?
Okay, yes, please give me 10 years.
Okay, so you can
of you being out the house.
You need to reset first.
Yes, because I want to be the best.
But they're so young,
the best grandma ever.
Okay. You already are going to be the best
but
grandma.
I want a break first.
You need a break.
Okay. I want a break.
Well, I didn't get a break, and I'm so in love with these girls.
I know you are.
Tatum, my sweet potato pie, she is so cute. And it's so interesting. being a mom of boys plus one girl and then just being a grandmother of girls. Girls and boys are different.
Oh, they are very different.
It's wild. Like, you're a legitimate boy mom.
Oh, yeah.
Did you ever envision what a life would have been like if you had been a girl mom? No, you don't even want to think about it.
No, but even now with the boys having girlfriends, it's an appreciation because they're so thoughtful.
Yes.
They're so thoughtful. They come into my house and like the groceries, and then they're like bringing in the groceries. Nobody asked them, and they're putting things away, and they leave little notes because I keep a calendar on the counter, and they leave like little notes on the calendar with little hearts, and you know.
Oh my God.
Yeah, and when my boys tell me, "Oh, you're a hot mess," they're like, "You look so pretty," and I'm like, "Oh, I love you."
Like, where's this like divine goddess energy been all my life, right?
I didn't get any of that. So, now that we have girlfriends, I'm like, oh, you guys are awesome.
Do they want to spend time with you, the girls?
They do. They're so sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that too. I get that too.
They invite me to do things with them, and I'm like, are you guys sure I'm not like third wheel? And they're like, no, come to the movies with us.
Oh my God. It's really cool, right?
Yes. No, it's nice.
It's a really cool.
It's a really nice
the other
transition.
Day we went out to like a movie or whatever, and Walker and his girlfriend were there, and then now Wynn, who's 15, has a girl that he's dating. She's adorable. Okay. And then Winston he was at a bar mitzvah. So it was just the two couples, and then Ray and I out to dinner. We went to Brickell, and at the end of the dinner, like Wynn and his girlfriend walked out and they were holding hands. And then Walker and his girlfriend walked out and they were holding hands. And I was just sitting there waiting, and somebody at the bar grabbed Brady, wanted to tell him something or whatever. And so we're sitting there waiting, and we get down to the parking lot, and Wynn's young lady that he's dating, Wynn said, Mom, I'm just gonna walk her to the car and then I'll meet you guys, for our car. And I said, okay. And she was like, no, Wynn, you don't have to walk me. And he was like, yeah, I do have to walk you. I want to make sure you get to your car safely. Mm-hmm. And she was like, really, Wynn, you don't have to walk me. It's all right. And I said, no, he has to walk you.
Absolutely.
He has to walk you because when you're spending time with Wynn, or when you're spending time with us, you are our responsibility. Mm-hmm. And so Wynn is responsible for your safety. He's only 15, but he is still responsible for your safety because your parents are entrusting that Wynn and we are going to be having a watchful eye over you. And she was just like, okay, that makes sense. And it's just such an interesting dynamic to see your boys, your babies, become young men. And this is one of the things you talked about, being proud of your business and being in service to your community and creating safe spaces for people and pouring into them. I think one of the things that I'm most proud of, beyond, all the things, is that my boys are gentlemen.
Yes.
Like, I'm raising kind boys. They're considerate, they're thoughtful, they're feminists.
Okay.
We need more boys that are being raised to be feminist ladies at that time in.
I agree.
Right?
I agree.
Like, what?
I agree.
My husband's a feminist.
Yeah.
Period.
But while still being masculine, because 100%. I think there's this misconception that, you can't.
It doesn't make you soft.
Yeah, that you can't love and appreciate and value women while still being masculine. So I love that.
Yes, my mother-in-law is fierce. So let me ask you this question. Mm-hmm. So you were an NBA wife, and now you're going to be a NCAA Division I basketball mom / soon to be an NBA mom. I'm just going to throw it out there because that's destiny.
Okay, speak it into existence.
Listen, it's done. If God wants it, it's done, right? We want it. So what do you think that experience will be like differently than when you were going to games, supporting your ex-husband, being there now as the mom of the boys? Because my mother-in-law was a serious NBA mom.
Yeah.
Does not play.
Yeah.
And such an important figure in my husband's life, and still is. She's amazing. And she's a basketball player. Also, you're an athlete. She played basketball, semi-pro basketball in Europe. Nobody really knows this. She was on a team called the Lady Phantoms.
Wow.
She still holds records in Europe to this day.
Okay,
yes, my mother-in-law is a beast.
I love it.
And so the dads always get credit for the basketball. But in this case, my mother-in-law, a.k.a. Truck, that was her nickname. Yes. She's amazing. And so Ray could always talk to his mom about games. Like, the boys can talk to you, the boys can talk to me. But she was also a player.
Right.
And so her experience being in an NBA arena is different than my experience or the kids being. So now you're going to experience both.
Right.
So have you thought about that at all? Like, what your experience may be like differently this time around?
I think it'll definitely be different because I think as like a wife or a girlfriend, you are their support. Like, you are there to help them be calm and happy. You're their peace, right?
Right,
Yeah, you
right.
know, like
Yeah.
they want to come
Escapism.
home. Yeah, exactly. And maybe they don't even want to talk to you much about the game. You
Right.
know, I think I learned to be quiet as a wife. You know, you had a
Right.
bad day. Oh, I was tiptoeing and placing that food on the table and
pregame
backing
meal.
it up, you know,
Right.
like, and you know, you kind of have your system of like quiet, but I feel like as a mom, you have a very different place because I've been leading you and guiding you always. And so having those tough conversations and talking about the things that you're not doing or that you should be doing or
That you could be doing.
yeah, or looking at perspective, I don't imagine that that's going to change as they continue to move on because that's just our relationship and that's how
always
our
been
life
the
is.
role.
Yeah, and that's always been the role. And I think that now you have your wife, your girlfriend, and maybe your future wife, and she's the person that you lay your head on her shoulder, and she gives you that comfort and that peace. And maybe I'm more of a sounding board, and you know that
But
proponent.
you're okay with that.
I think everybody has their place. And that, you know, when you put it all together, it makes this beautiful thing that gives you completeness. And, you know, I'm okay with, you know, changing gears as we move forward because I want them to be happy and fulfilled.
And that's ultimately what it comes down to, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, that's really our role. And I think one of the most beautiful things I think about being a part of a team, and we're all a part of a team, whether we realize it or not,
Yes. Yeah.
whether it's our job, our community, our church community, our families, these are all teams.
Mhm.
You know, even a city,
Right.
this country, being a part of the world, like these are all teams, right? And when you're not a selfish person and you can have empathy for what other people are going through and you can be in service and show up for people, that's what makes a community amazing,
Yes.
right?
Mhm.
And so our roles are going to change
Mhm.
over time. And who you are for them now is not who you'll be for them in 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, but you'll always be there for them.
I think so long as we're okay with that, then everything gonna be fine.
Yeah. And I love my husband's relationship with his mother. I mean, they really have a real friendship.
Yeah.
And we have two very different roles to play, but I've learned a ton from her. And it's so great to be able to see her as kind of like an example for me
Yes.
of what support looks like. And I think growing up, Ray always laughs and says, like, even if I had a terrible game, my mom would be like, you were the best one on the court, period.
I love
Right?
it.
But when you're younger and you're coming up, when the whole world is telling you, you ain't shit.
Right.
In here, in this house, oh, you're gonna be loved perfectly,
Mm-hmm.
unconditionally.
Yes.
And that is the part that they need right
Yeah.
now.
We have you.
Yeah, the audacity of belief in yourself, belief in your dreams. Like, there's nothing you can't accomplish with God, with family, with love. So I think as long as we're willing
Yes.
to evolve with them,
Yeah.
the relationship, even if it changes, it'll still be there.
Yeah. No, I agree. You already know, like with everything, I'm willing to shift and adapt and do
You are.
something different.
You're the queen of the pivot.
And so I'm okay to do that with them also.
Yeah.
And I think that that's what's going to keep us, or at least I hope that's what's going to keep us strong and healthy, you know,
It will.
for a long time.
So before I let you go, because I know you have a day, and I'm so grateful that you were able to spend all this time with me.
I'm so happy I got to see you.
Thank you. I know we don't see each other enough.
We really don't.
You know, this is the phase of our life right now.
Yeah, it is. It
Yeah.
is. But soon we're going to be empty nesters and have more time for each
Crazy.
other.
Winston's only in 7th grade, so I've got a few more years before I'm crying in Egypt.
Okay, but we can do it together.
Yes. Am I one of those friends for a girl trip? I don't know.
Well, I never had one, but
Period.
you know.
Same.
But
It's hard. It's hard for moms, sports moms,
No.
basketball moms. What?
Let me tell you
How?
that I feel like people just stopped inviting me.
Yeah, same.
Because, you know, every time they would say, hey, can you come do this? Can you come? I'd be like, oh, my kid has a game. Oh, my kid has practice. I'm out of town. And then they just were like, forget it.
I know.
I will reach out to you in 10 to 12 years.
I started saying, I'm so sorry that I can't make it. I hope that you have an amazing time. Please don't stop asking me.
Oh, see, I forgot that part.
That's the part.
I forgot that
Because it's
part.
not that I don't want to be there for you.
I did
want
wanna
to
be there. I did.
Right? I
I
did want to
did.
be there. But
No,
I mean,
And
shit, when you got 4 games
no,
in 4 different parts of the city, it's crazy.
it's impossible.
Last week we had Winston had a basketball game, Wynn had a track meet, Walker had a basketball game, and Ray Ray was playing on television. And like Ray had a phone out, I had a phone out. We were in, you know, 2 different parts of the state. It's like, and by the way, and you're doing it.
Yeah.
It's just you in the car.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's I don't want to say that it's like, oh, whatever, because I'm not complaining about it, obviously, but
Yeah.
there's this window of time where we're just so, we just have to be there, man. I don't know. I think people do a better job of scheduling or something. Please don't stop asking me. Eventually, I'm going to be able to come.
Okay, well, I need everybody to ask now.
Yeah, start asking CeCe. CeCe's open for invitations. You got a girls trip coming up?
I can
What?
say yes now.
Yes. You have an Art Basel event coming up?
I can say yes.
You need a +1?
Thank you.
So last thing before I let you go. What does it mean to you to be a grown woman?
Oof. Okay. I think being a grown woman means that you encompass all of your founding principles, you know, and that's different for everybody. And so for me, that is love, that is being a servant spirit, that is family. And I think that when you really stand on what your core principles are and you emit that in everything that you do and every day, that you are truly a grown woman, because you have to have a proper foundation. If your foundation isn't correct, then it doesn't matter what you build on top of it, it's all going to fall.
Yeah.
So for me, a grown woman is just having proper principles and standing on that every single day.
Standing on business.
Yeah, stand on business every day.
I love it. I
Yeah.
love it. Thank you so much. I'm
No,
so grateful
thank
to
you.
And you know, I wish you nothing but the best.
Oh,
And the
you
boys,
too.
God bless them. Thank you. I'll take it.
You too. Hey, and
you.
let's get some wins
We
tonight.
got baby.
What?
I almost wore a sweatshirt with Walker's face on it.
You know he's not going to have that.
I know. He'd be like, Mom, what are
He
you?
would be appalled.
Mom,
Please do.
Win is the worst because, you know, at track meets, I'm like a different person.
Oh, no.
I am a different person. He'd be like, Mom, why?
No.
Why, Mom? And I'm like, Win, I don't know what it is. Maybe because I didn't run track. I played softball. But
So you're
track
excited.
is so exciting. It's different than basketball because, you know, there's an individual element in
Yes,
there.
it is. It's
Right?
just you.
So when he's on the track and he's running the 200, it's like, this man is insane. I don't know. I get crazy.
I
I'd
love
be like,
it.
Mom, he gives everybody else a high five but me. He's like,
He secretly loves it. Don't worry about it.
oh, yeah.
At least that's what I tell myself.
Same.
Same.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Thanks, CeCe.
No, thank you.